Hello, welcome, and thank you for watching this month's Tarot Talk. I'm intuitive reader Bryan Stafford from Stafford Tarot, and today's Tarot Talk topic is going to be about the uses of oracles. Now, before we get into that discussion, to give some time for some live viewers to join me on this broadcast, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what's new with Stafford Tarot and about some of the upcoming events to look forward to. Now, if you're watching this from my website and you're only really interested in seeing the sample readings, feel free to just skip ahead about 20-30 minutes into the video, as I will be offering free short readings to those live viewers who are interested, who show interest in the chat during this broadcast. So I'll just get started. What's new with Stafford Tarot? Well, we are always updating the website. Check it out, staffordtarot.com. With the upcoming holiday season becomes a popular time for gift certificates. All of that information has been posted on my website. If you're interested, check it out. It describes all how that works and how you can redeem those gift certificate codes. Also on my website, staffordtarot.com, you can read the blog with helpful tips, suggestions, and tricks on learning to do tarot for yourself. There is also a section about learning about the decks that I use, both the tarot decks and the oracle decks. You can watch all the Tarot Talk live videos, as well as read the moon oracle polls, which are sort of like a horoscope subscription. Every 2 weeks, I like to post new moon and full moon oracle polls. And you can even learn how to do tarot for yourself. There's a section on there if you're interested. It's right from the homepage. You just scroll down and you can find it near the decks. It's how to do tarot for yourself, and it's a section that's committed to listing all the resources that are available on staffordtarot.com in order for you to learn to do it for yourself. And of course, on the website, you can also find information about the services that I offer, whether you're interested in private individual readings, or you'd like to book group events or occasions or parties, as well as it describes all the remote services and subscriptions that are available. All of that information is available on my website, staffordtarot.com. Hi, Lindsay. Thanks for the shout out there. I appreciate knowing that the messages are being received. And I should just take a moment to mention that the messages usually have like a between 10 to 30 second delay, I've noticed, from when they're entered into the chat and sent out to when I can see them. So just be patient with me as the messages come up. I will be watching for them throughout the broadcast, and I will be trying to acknowledge any questions that come up. Also, at any time during this broadcast, you can let me know that you're interested to receive that. Okay, can everyone hear me now? Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me. My microphone just cut out on me partway through the broadcast, so I'm really hoping people can hear me now. The sound quality may have dropped quite a bit, and I apologize for that, but we'll just have to continue with what we got. Thank you for that confirmation. I do see people saying they can hear me now. I'm not sure how much wasn't heard when I was talking. So I've just mentioned that I have 3 people on the list. There's still some availability. I'm really looking forward to some of the upcoming events. I did mention the Enchanted Witches Market on Saturday, November 18th, the Enchanted Evening Fundraiser on December 6th, and also the Magical Holiday Market, which is a 2-day event on December 8th and December 9th. All of that information is available on my website for details, location, everything that you need to attend these events at staffordtarot.com in the upcoming events section. So just check that out on my website. And yeah, I look forward to seeing everyone there. At all of my events, I always try to offer free 1-card impression polls to anyone who comes to my table at the markets. And then that's usually while I'm between private sessions. Thank you so much for confirming that I can be heard. I appreciate that. Hi, Alex. Hi, Alex. Hi, Alexandria. Thank you for joining. Appreciate seeing you here. So tonight's, the other thing I want to talk about are just the 2 other things upcoming I have a new monthly draw on Monday, December 11th, 2023. You have until about 10 a.m. that day to join in on the draw. How do you get involved? You simply like, comment, or share any social media posts that mention the draw, and you're automatically included. I do check the posts before the draw date to include all the names. I literally do take a hat and put all the names into a list and cut them out and put them into the hat and draw the names, old-fashioned draw. I do not record or broadcast the winner simply because not everyone who comes to me for tarot readings wants to be disclosed. Sometimes tarot readings can be private and personal, and so I appreciate if somebody wants to come to me confidentially, and so I don't broadcast the winner. I do reach out to all winners through however you reached out to me. So if you liked, shared, or commented on a post, and it was on Facebook, then I'm going to connect to you through Facebook, probably through the Messenger. If you contacted me through email saying you're interested in a free reading, then you would have automatically been included in that draw. And if you won, I will connect to you in email. So it's always on the same platform that you've reached out to me. So please, on the date of the draw, check your messages so that you can redeem your free reading. You have so much time to respond in order for me to get that booking and book your time. The availability does run out fast. I do have 1 in 5 winners in each draw. So that means that if I get 10 people in the draw, I'm choosing 2 winners. If I get 15 and up to 15, I'm drawing 3, etc. And I keep doing that until I have a 1 in 5 ratio, at least a 1 in 5 ratio. And then on December 19th, which is a Tuesday, I'll be doing my next Tarot Talk live event. Now, at that event, I'm going to be talking about full year reflections and full year forecasts. It's going to get into some conversations about that given the time of year and the approaching New Year's, and with the turn of the wheel and the darkness and solstice. I think it's a great time to reflect and do some of that planning for the future. And so I'm going to be offering that on that discussion on Tuesday, December 19th. It'll start about 8 o'clock, similar to tonight. Now, tonight's Tarot Talk topic is about the use of oracles. And so I'm looking forward to this conversation because a lot of oracles get used a lot. Tarot cards themselves can be used as an oracle, but there are also decks that are specifically designed to be oracles. So what is an oracle? An oracle is basically like something that you can get advice from. It doesn't have to be a card, and that's one of the things I want to start with this discussion. These are my these are my runes. This is my rune pouch, and this is an oracle. I can get advice from this oracle simply by focusing on my question or topic, giving it a good shake, and pulling out one of the stones and reading out the message that I get. Now, empowerment, symbol of power, which is pentacle. I could then look at what that means to me based on the topic or question that was in my head during the time. Another example of an oracle can be bone throwing, if you're familiar with bone throwing, rune casting, charm connecting, all sorts of different ways to do it. The way that I'm going to talk about using oracles tonight is using cartomancy, using the cards. I'm just going to look at my messages here. I'm just reading some of the messages. Hi, Monica. I will definitely add you to the list for a free reading when I get to the free readings. And anyone else who's interested, just let me know. I have 2 more spots available. I am capping tonight's free readings to 6 free readings because each reading takes about 15 minutes. And so I try to keep the Tarot Talk broadcast to a limit of about 2 hours at most. Sometimes we go over, but I do try my best. So, cards, using cards for oracles. Absolutely. That's a great suggestion, Lindsay. I'm just going to quickly follow Lindsay's advice and read out the list in case anyone's missing from the list, given that my sound cut out earlier. So I'm starting the readings with Lindsay, and then after Lindsay is Elizabeth. After Elizabeth is Jeff. After Jeff is Monica, and I have 2 more spots available. So if you showed interest in the chat and you didn't hear your name, let me know right away and I'll add you to the list. You're welcome. So in the discussion, there are many different types of oracle decks available to choose from. It really depends on what really resonates with you in the choosing of the oracle. Some oracles are designed for specific purposes. Other oracle decks are meant for a general use. And I can explain some of that and show you some examples. Now, excuse me, everyone who has come to my live events and who has seen my free readings has probably seen me use oracles. I do use oracles to extend on readings. The first 2 draws, the 1 card impression pull is usually a tarot deck. Then I do a 3 card pull in my short readings for a tarot deck, and then I will move further, either using tarot decks as oracles or using oracle decks themselves. And I'm just writing down some names. Okay, Ashley Murray is added to the list, and Angie Winnan is also added to the list. And that is my free readings for tonight. My list is full. So anyone else who would be interested in getting a reading from me, you could always just let me know that you're interested and I will add you to the draw that's happening. The next draw will take place on Monday, December 11th. And so I can add you to that draw if you're interested. Just let me know, or reach out to me in email if you'd like as well. So let me give an example of a oracle deck. I'm just thinking what would be the best one. I suppose the most common way of using an oracle is during moon phases. Now, if you're familiar with my oracle pulls on my website, then you're familiar with the 2 decks that I'm going to show you. These are the 2 decks that I use for my general oracle full moon and new moon oracle pulls. The first deck that I use is actually a moon oracle. It's based on the different phases of the moon, the different zodiacs that the moon can sit in. And so I will often choose 1 card from this deck simply to get an oracle, get advice for the time that we're moving into. So I will often look at where the moon is sitting currently. If it's a full moon, what is the empowerment of the zodiac that it's sitting in and what's opposite to it. And then I will pull a card based on that influence, that energetic influence. So for example, a full moon that's sitting in Aries is usually pretty forceful energy, very action oriented, very take charge energy. And so in order to get some advice based on that, we could pull from this deck, and the card that comes out can then give advice on how you would reflect on that energy or what would help you. So in this case, it was the Void Moon card, which is basically suggesting that nothing will come out of this. So it's kind of like a stalemate or a stall. And that kind of makes sense to me, given that I didn't really ask it a question. But it's an example on how you would use an oracle deck. So you would literally, this is my other deck, it's my elemental deck that I often use coinciding with the moon card deck. And I'm going to just use this deck as an example and show you on how you would use an oracle deck. So if I connected and resonated with this deck and I was having, say I was having a bad day and I really wanted to just consult the deck on what I should be doing for myself perhaps, I can just keep that in my mind and shuffle the deck accordingly. And then when I feel ready, I can just pull a card. Now the card that I get is the Alchemy Magic card. So perhaps I could be looking at this more from a magical influence. Given that I am a magical practitioner, I do see myself as a witch. I am a Sikhs Wiccan practitioner, And so I could see this as being, I need to depend more on my ritual. I need to prepare myself more for that that level of, soul development, as opposed to mundane needs in the world. There are many different types of oracle decks that you can use to get advice from. Some oracle decks do come with books that describe each card, so that you can just become familiar with what the creator had in mind for the deck itself. But every deck has a different intention. For example, this is a deck that I've often used in my free readings. It is my Life Sacred Destiny deck, and it gives great advice when I extend on readings on the portion of life path that someone is walking. And so one card from this deck, just asking it for to give an example of a life path that could be involved in the situation on hand within a reading. And the card, just to give an example, is the potential card, finding the potential in any situation, and it uses the example of a dormant volcano, something that the potential is just under the surface, waiting to be exploded or explored or discovered. And there are also different oracle decks for specific uses. For example, my Past Lives deck. This deck has a very specific use in terms of connecting with past lives that you may have been through, and how that may be affecting you in this life. I have a shamanic oracle that I use quite often in readings when I feel like you've got to dig deep and get down to what really is causing the problem for an independent, or on the soul level, really deep issues. This deck works really well as a consultation towards that. I have different oracle decks that help me in my magical workings. These three decks in particular I was hoping to share on this broadcast. This is my Moon Manifestation deck. Now, these decks I don't normally use on my broadcast, so these are other more personal decks that I use as oracles in my own personal practice. And so this is my Manifestation Moon card deck, and it really gives great advice in terms of when I want to use the moon for manifestation. Also, I have a spell oracle deck, spellcasting oracle. So if I want to produce a working and I'm not sure the right approach I want to take, I can consult this and it'll give me ideas in terms of what direction I should be headed. And then I have my Witches Oracle deck, which also I find very handy in terms of connecting with myself, what state I'm in the moment, things I need to also focus on. This works really well at just getting that general oracle on my practice, my personal practice as a magical practitioner. There are even oracles generated to specific tools. For example, this is the Crystal Oracle deck, where it gives examples. Each card is representative of a crystal, of a phase for the crystal, and I can just randomly pick a card here to show you. So Celestite is the card, and it shows you what the crystal may look like, the color and the texture of it. And what this card is really suggesting is just the type of crystal that could be helpful to me or that I could work with. And there's so many more. As you know, I have so many decks. My card table is full of decks. I am a trans-dimensional reader. I do rely on many decks within one session. And I did talk about that in a previous tarot talk if you're interested to know about that. Also, I've also did a previous tarot talk on the differences between oracles and tarot. So if you're more interested to know about the structure of oracles versus tarot decks, just look back at that previous tarot talk topic. Live broadcast. They're all available on my website. If you go to my website, in the Tarot Talk section on the homepage, there's a button that says previous events or previous Tarot Talk broadcasts. and it comes out in a list from newest to oldest. So, any questions relating to oracles? I'm just going to look back through the messages here. And if there are no questions about the oracle decks, we'll just get right into those free readings. I'll start with Lindsay. If Lindsay's interested in or of course you're interested, you showed interest. If you're available on the broadcast, just let me know that you're there. Oh, thank you for that comment, Elizabeth. I'm happy that you're enjoying it. You're very welcome. Very welcome indeed. And if you're interested in any other information or you want to learn more about what I do or other topics that I've talked about, just look at my website. It's all available there, including, like I said, the previous Tarot Talk discussions. Thank you, Lindsay. I see you're here. I'm just going to grab these decks and cleanse them and we'll get started. Now, I always start my free readings with a 1-card impression pull from this deck, and that just lets me know where you're sitting energetically in the moment. And then I'll move to this deck for the actual reading, and that's when I will focus on your topic or question. So if you do have a topic or question, Lindsay, that you'd like me to focus on, just let me know. Otherwise, it can be left general. Quite often when readings are left general, the messages that need to be heard will come out anyways, but it's up to you if you want to try and refine what you're looking for. Hi, Cynthia. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate seeing you on the live. For sure, I can do a general reading for you, Lindsay. Now, Cynthia, I'm not sure if you showed interest during the audio malfunction that I had earlier. So I saw that you did show interest later on. So I did add you to the list as my last reading. So I did put 7 people on the list. I'm kind of going over my cap due to the technical difficulties. But I just want to let everyone know that I'm not going to add anyone else to the list. So that'll be all the free readings that I'll be doing tonight. And if you're interested to receive free readings, just reach out to me and I will add you to the draw for the free readings that happen after December the 11th. Hopefully I'm receiving all the messages that that people have been inputting into the screen. I remember one time I did a live broadcast and the messages just didn't show up. So that was really unfortunate. So Lindsay, if you're ready, I am ready. And I will do a general reading for you. I'm just taking a moment to focus on your energy. I'm using my crystal ball to remain objective and to do that. And I'm just going to charge these cards with that impression of your energy and where you're sitting now. And then I'll move to your general reading with that deck. I feel like this is ready. Lindsay, I get the 10 of Pentacles. The card looks like this, and it really represents a connection with family. Quite often it can mean like getting something from family, whether that's information or money or some sort of genetic passed down condition or something coming from family. I do get that sense from this card that this is about a connection with family, and that's sitting in your energy now. So you could be involved in some situation that either you're presented with that is involving family or family, something coming to you from family. If the card was reversed, it would be like disconnection from family, like letting go or not receiving or out of touch. So just know that this is more of a positive aspect of that. So I'm just going to pull 3 cards from this deck. And this is a general reading, so we're just looking at generally what the cards feel like what you need to hear. Now, interestingly enough, Lindsay, all 3 cards have come out reversed. There is a higher arcana card and 2 suits. They are both swords, which tells me that this is heavy on your mind. This is heavy intellect, very intellectual process going on. And I'm going to actually start at the suits and work my way to the higher arcana. Now, the first thing I want to mention before I even read these cards, Lindsay, is they are all reversed, meaning that this tells me right from the start that this is not an easy track, that this is probably challenging, you're probably up against things, and given the cards that have come out, I think that that's the case, that you're up against this heavy thing on your mind, something that's on your mind that you're up against. The first card that I want to highlight is the Knight of Swords reversed. Quite often, Knight of Swords, when they come out like this, can represent a conflict, a battle, taking charge, it can mean defense, it can mean attacking sometimes, it can mean, really just getting yourself out there. When it's reversed, it means that you're feeling held back from that, or that you're not able to take that step forward, or that there's something that's preventing you from having that action. Doesn't mean that action won't take place. It's just either it feels to me like either it's not the right time yet, or it has to still form and materialize before it'll go forward. Now, the next card that I want to talk about is the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords and the Knight of Swords side by side tell me how grave this is for you, that this is really hard for you to go through. The Ten of Swords is often about being pinned down by all the heavy thoughts. Notice the image on the card. When it's upright, there are a lot of swords holding this person down, pinning them down to the point of not being able to budge. That's a description or a depiction of these heavy thoughts that are weighing you down. Now, when it's reversed like this, it actually is good news. You're working at releasing this from you. You're working at pulling out these swords that are holding you down. And the more swords that you pull out, the lighter this is going to be on you, the less it's going to hold you down, the less it's going to weigh you down. I would suggest with this card to take what's known as baby steps, one sword at a time, one thought process at a time. Otherwise, the whole thing, looking at the whole process, could be overwhelming. Now, the higher arcana card is the Magician card reversed. What this tells me is that you may feel like you don't have the tools available to you to move forward with whatever this challenge is. You may feel stuck, or that you don't have, or you have to acquire the tools that you need in order to move forward. Now, when I look at this reading and I bring it right back to where you are now, I'm wondering what this situation has to do with this family connection. If this situation is happening within your family and it's something that you're having to deal with, I could understand this, the reading coming out that way. There does feel like a disconnect though, and I'm not sure what the disconnect is referencing. Perhaps that's why all these cards are reversed. This could be disruptive to family. Do you have any questions on that, Lindsay, or let me know if that makes sense? I'm just going to, I wonder how we can extend on this further. I'm just looking at my decks. I'm wondering if it would be helpful to look at some of the emotional activators that are involved in this. It's interesting. Okay. Can you relate to where this is going or what this is talking about, Lindsay? I am going to look at my emotional activators deck. I think that would be helpful. It does make sense. Okay, thank you for that confirmation. Okay, so that makes sense to me why these cards are reversed then. Why, what I was saying earlier, if you feel like this should be coming from family and there's all these difficulties involved, I could see why the cards are playing out this way. What I think may be helpful is to look at the emotional activators that are involved in this. Given that this seems so challenging, and when it involves family, it can be kind of like pulling heartstrings, And so I'm just going to look at 3 cards from my triggers deck And we're going to just look at some of the emotions that may be involved here. Now, this is an oracle deck, so this is an example of the Tarot Talk discussion that was had earlier. Now, the three cards that have come out are really interesting, and I will hold them up once I just reflect on it for a moment. But just deciding which direction to go in this. I'm going to go here and just work my way across. Here's the card, the first card that came out. In numerology, 59 breaks down to a 5, which is all about having that choice or being confronted with some sort of challenge. And you can see here that the challenge is really about being left out, not being able to see in. You can see here on this apartment wall, I suppose, the brick wall with the windows are concealed. There's plants growing all over it. You can't see through. And so this is really some of the emotion that's involved in this is possibly feeling left out of the picture, not being able to see in, or feeling left out of whatever's happening inside. Now, in this card, 63 in numerology breaks down to a 9, and a 9 for me is all about finding the goal, reaching the destination, and the headlight references like finding your way to doing that. You may feel like you're the driver in this car, that you have to find the solution, that it's up to you to solve the problem. And then this card, in numerology, 48, that number at the bottom, it's a bit hard to see amongst the moon rocks, but 48 in numerology breaks down to a 3, and a 3 is all about communication, and I feel like there's a communication breakdown. And that's what's really this is being described here. It's like air does not go through space. Sound needs air to manifest. So there's just no communication happening. That's the message that I'm getting from this, and that is drawing on your emotions. I can understand this being difficult for you if you feel like you're the one that has to guide people in the right direction. If you feel like you're sort of the driver to the resolution or the solution, and yet you're being held out of the picture or held back and not communicating or not receiving that communication. I could see that being very frustrating. It's no wonder the cards in your reading have come out reversed, just how challenging this could be. I'd like to just extend one more time for some advice. It does seem like you're up against quite a bit and that you may feel a little held back from what you're going through. Oh, thank you, Lindsay, for that. I really appreciate you saying that I hit the nail on the head. Your general readings are so bang on. Thank you for that message. I appreciate that confirmation. I know I'm on the right track with this. And so I think it would be helpful to look at advice. Given that you feel like you're in the driver's seat of finding this resolution, or there's some sort of responsibility on your shoulders, I'm going to look at advice for yourself. This is my heart chakra deck. It is a tarot deck, but I'm going to use it as an oracle to move forward in your reading for that advice. This is going to be based on what you need for yourself, Lindsay. And so I'm just going to pull 3 cards here and relate that to your situation. So what do you need for yourself in regards to what's happening here? Thank you, Jennifer, for that message. Unfortunately, I've reached my cap for the free readings tonight. So you're a little late to get into the list, but I will add you into the free draw if you'd like, which is happening in December. And so it's a 1 in 5 chance to win on that draw. So and then you just check your messages to see if you're a winner on December the 11th. So Lindsay, I'm just focusing on your reading. I'm focusing on your reading right from the beginning. Hi, Crystal. As I just mentioned, yeah, it's late. I'm already full on my readings list for tonight. The next Tarot Talk topic will be Tuesday, December 19th, if you want to get involved and quickly show interest in the chat so that you can get on the list. Or there will be a free draw. Just reach out to me. Let me know if you want to be interested in that free draw. So, Lindsay, when I look at your advice for this situation, I have 3 cards. 2 have come out reversed and 1 hasn't. I find them interesting. They're all suits. I'm just going to start and work my way through them. The first one is the 4 of embodiment, and it's the opportunity beckons reversed. I think what this card is really speaking to in terms of the advice is don't look for the opportunities to get involved. Excuse me. Be involved because you are involved. I think it's really trying to say not to overstep. Like this could be like a very tricky balance that you have to provide here to not overstep your boundary, so to speak, and yet stick within your boundary in order to help out still and be fulfilling in the tasks that you want to accomplish. I think that there needs to be some balancing there. And I think what this card is saying, because it's reversed, is that you are doing that balance. I think you are keeping in mind that, you know, when push is too far, when push is not enough, that sort of balance is what I'm referring to. Don't look at this like challenging times. That's what this card is suggesting. When it's reversed like this, when it's not reversed, it can be like these are challenging times, and that this will be something that will be, you know, a challenging time that you can get through, and you can eventually have it past you, and you'll work past it. When it's reversed like this, it just means that this is a process, and it is going to take time. You may need patience on this. Don't look at it like it's a challenging time that you're just going to get over the hill. I think it's going to be a more gradual process than you think. It's not going to be something that can be solved in a light switch or a quick fix. It's something that's going to take its process and have to go through its the stages, if that makes sense. I think what this is really suggesting is be careful getting too involved. I think that's what those 2 cards are really speaking together in terms of this situation. Now, the card that I love that came out of this is the 9 of action. 9 in numerology is all about reaching that goal, that final outcome, the actions that you take to reach that goal, well-deserved reward. I think you can feel proud of what you've done here. I think you can feel proud of the involvement that you've had in this situation. This card could be upright because you could be holding the family together in some way, or that you're looking for the positives in what you get from it. It's definitely not reversed, and so that speaks with this card for me in some way. I just think that you can feel like the person standing on the top of this pedestal. You know, you can put yourself up there and feel proud. You probably do well deserve a reward for what you've been through in this, if that makes sense to you. I hope that this was helpful, Lindsay. I don't feel like I think that there's a lot that you need to figure out for yourself to get the guidance. I think that this is one of those situations that the journey is the lesson itself, that, you know, it's going to take some decision making along the way to determine what direction it's going to go in. It is very helpful. Thank you for that, Lindsay. I appreciate that. I'm going to put the cards away and just decharge these decks. And then I'm going to give a reading to Elizabeth. Elizabeth, if you're there, let me know that you're still on the call. And if you have a topic or question you'd like me to focus on, or it can be left general. Thank you for letting me do your reading, Lindsay. Awesome. Hi, Elizabeth. I will definitely do that. I see general reading. So I always start my reading with a 1-card impression pull. I'm just clearing the decks first. We don't want to mix up the energies. Okay, dokie, that feels good. Okay, so Elizabeth, this is for you. This is a 1-card impression pull. The 1-card impression pull just tells me where you're sitting energetically in the moment. I'm just connecting with that energy and asking the cards to give me a detailed impression of what I'm picking up. That was a weird way to cut. Cards are being very specific today. This is the 7 of Swords. It did not come out reversed. And so what I feel like is happening for you, Elizabeth, in your energy now is that you have these heavy thoughts on your mind. And I feel like I'm trying to decide if it's you that feels like someone's taking from you or if you're taking from someone in terms of thoughts. It could be a back and forth, actually, but I do get the sense that you may feel like someone's taking thoughts from you, almost like ripping you off intellectually in some way, or that like if you had an idea and someone took credit for your idea, or if there was a process that you could have been responsible for and someone else took that responsibility. I'm not sure what it's leading towards. Just I get this sense of an idea that either no longer becomes yours. Does this make sense to you, Elizabeth? In terms of where you're sitting energetically in the moment, something that's in your energy that's relating to this? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts on that. I do get a strange feeling from this card. Not the usual feeling that I get from that card. It does make sense. Okay, thank you, Elizabeth, for confirming that. I'm going to go with it if you can agree or if you can relate to that. Excuse me. Sorry, my throat's getting dry. I feel like these cards are ready. It has a message it just wants to deliver. And the 3 cards that have come out are all suits. 2 are upright, 1's reversed. I'm going to start on the reverse one. I feel like that's the more important message, and it's to don't feel like you're being ripped off. I think this is a great card to come out, given that you feel like someone's taking something from you. Don't feel like you're being ripped off, okay? I don't think you're being taken advantage of. I think you just need to hold your own. I think you just need to sit in your own power. Now, the next card is interesting because it's the Ace of Swords. Now, normally with the Ace of Swords, there's this brand new idea that's coming out of nowhere or that you've just discovered or recently come into realizing, and you have this new idea and you can go forward with it. It did not come out reversed, so there's nothing holding you back from coming up with this new idea. I think that this is on your mind, this is fresh on your mind, and if it's not yet, it will be. Now, this is also connected to memories. I like to call this the childhood memories card. It doesn't always relate back to as far back as childhood, but it definitely relates back to memories. There could be something from your past that this is relating to, or something from your past that you could look back on to help you through this situation. Now, when I look at this reading and I bring it back to where you are now, you have this new idea you don't want to be taken advantage of. It has to do with a connection from your past.
And in the moment, you feel like you're getting ripped off, or that you're being taken advantage of in some way. Now, the message from this card is not about being taken advantage of. I want to be clear. And especially with this card coming out like this, you're not being taken advantage of. But that feeling may be there. Okay, so I would suggest sorting that out for yourself. What's making you feel like these ideas are being taken from you? I'm wondering how to expand on this further. Given that this is, there seems to be more involved in terms of what's happening around you that doesn't seem to be coming out in the cards just yet. I'm going to use my Zen deck. This deck is really good at pinpointing the energetic, what's the word I'm looking for? My brain just went completely numb. Interaction, the energetic interaction between what's happening around us. And so I'm going to use this card to ask this deck for advice for you moving forward. What is the energetic interaction of what's happening around you that's needed? Hi, Monica. No, you didn't miss your turn. I can just quickly go over the list. Each reading takes about 15 minutes. And so I finished Lindsay's reading. I'm working on Elizabeth's reading now for about maybe the next 7 minutes. Then Jeff, then Monica, then Ashley, then Angie, then Cynthia. Okay, the 3 cards that have come out are really interesting. I'm going to start here. It's really about embracing the change that's going on, embracing the cycles of the change. It's often depicted as the sort of the wheel that's spinning, the wheel of the year, and all the different elements that are involved in that. And it's just the amount of changes that are happening. I think what this is saying is to accept the changes. If it was reversed, it would be saying more like, don't change. I think you need to look at this as an adventure and not so much as a struggle. There could be something exciting about this, even though it's a challenging path to walk. I feel like that there's light at the end of the tunnel. That's the message that's coming out of that card for me. So if you feel like you're trapped or stuck in any way, just know that it will get lighter. This will be looked at as more of an opportunity as opposed to being held back. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Now, the last card I want to talk about is the suppression card. Quite often, this card comes out for someone who is being really hard on themselves. You may be really down about yourself, or really hard on yourself, or being just opinionated, or just really strict with yourself. And so this is really just saying to be careful doing that. Don't suppress what you're going through. Don't suppress who you are inside because of all the chaos that's happening around you. I do think you'll get through this. When I bring this reading right back to where you are now, I could understand what's being taken from you, maybe what's making you feel suppressed. There could be an underlining force here, or a third party involved that you may be feeling is suppressing you in some way. I'm just going to pull one card from my heart chakra deck. As I explained, this card gives really good advice in terms of what you need for yourself. And I feel like, Elizabeth, I'm just going to pull one card from this deck and use it sort of as an oracle to explain what it is exactly that's needed here for yourself. What it is that you need personally. I want to get right to the point. Okay, and right to the point it goes. The solar plexus chakra card. Now, whenever I ask the heart chakra deck and it points to another energy center, it usually is speaking to an imbalance of some kind in this energy center. And so the solar plexus chakra is really about where we feel our nervousness or our gut feelings, or when we get nervous, when we get scared or anxious. Anxiety can come from that solar plexus. And so it's telling me it's upright. So I think you're working on balancing that solar plexus. If it was reversed, it would be like you need to really work on the balance. So this is suggesting to me that you are sort of working on this, that you're working on that gut feeling that you get that causes you not to be so nervous. The balance I'm referring to is if your solar plexus chakra is too wide and open and spinning too fast, you're you're going to be over nervous. It's going to prevent you from taking action, or anxiety maybe stopping you from moving forward. If your solar plexus chakra is closed, not spinning fast enough, or is just tightly shut, you're not going to feel that anxiety, that nervousness. And so you're just going to throw yourself out into these situations and just live with the consequences of whatever happens. And so it's about finding that balance. What is the right amount of anxiety that gives you enough information that you can then work through it and get those warning signs resolved, or solve those red flags that come up for you? I think what this is saying, Elizabeth, is that you're on the right track in terms of this. I think it's come up right because it's saying you are working on this and you are creating that balance. There's just some more work to be done, okay? Don't give up. Don't stop that work. Keep on working on that balance. Find that balance for your solar plexus chakra. I do hope that's helpful, Lindsay. Let me know if there was any questions about that. Oh, and don't be sorry about putting so much energy for it. I can take it. So I'm just going to put the cards away. Oh, you're very welcome, Elizabeth. Oh, there it is. I'm just going to decharge the decks, and then I will give a reading to Jeff. Jeff Corbel, if you're on the call, just let me know. Let me know that you're still on the call, and if you have a topic or question you'd like me to focus on, or it can be left general, like what you've seen tonight so far. A lot of times, as I mentioned with general readings, the message that needs to be heard will come up anyways, but I like to leave it up to everyone that I do readings for if you want to try and refine what you're looking for. So when you create a topic or question, it becomes the message that needs to be heard based on that topic or question. For sure. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. I will definitely give you a general reading. Okie dokie. So I'm going to start with that one card impression pull from this deck, and that's just going to tell me where you're sitting energetically in the moment. And then I'll move to my Morgan Greer deck, where we will work on that general reading. Now, for you, Jeff, I get the Four of Wands reversed. This often represents some sort of disruption in your household or in your home. When the card looks like this, it can mean the opposite of that. It can mean like happiness and structure and foundation in your home. When it's reversed, it means that there's been some sort of disruption to the foundation or the structure. So 4 in numerology is all about grounding. When you think about what is needed to hold up a roof, it's 4 walls, right? Like what grounds you and what is stable. Wands represent the actions in tarot. So quite often when we take actions in terms of grounding, it's about creating structure in our home. When it's reversed, it can mean something's disrupting that structure or getting in the way that has to be resolved first. Once you resolve what's happening there, this card will flip around and it'll be a much happier home. But in the meantime, it looks like this. Does that make sense for you, Jeff? I'm just moving on to your general reading. I'm going to pull 3 cards from this deck, and we're just going to read the way those cards speak to each other in order to get the messages that need to be heard. Okay, thank you for that confirmation, Jeff, that this makes sense. I appreciate that. Now, 2 cards are reversed, one's not. I'm going to start at the not reverse and work my way this way. It's just the way that the cards are calling to me. I'm being drawn to this card. This is the 5 of Cups. Now, in numerology, 5 is usually a halfway point. It's about a decision. Do you keep going forward or do you return back to the starting point? You know, it's about reaching that halfway point and making a decision for yourself. A lot of times there's challenges involved. Cups represent emotion. When there's emotional challenge, quite often that can represent a loss. And so there's some sort of emotional loss involved in terms of what this reading is about. Excuse me, I'm sorry for all the coughing. This is the 10 of Pentacles reversed. This can be a disconnect with family. As I mentioned, when the card looks like this, it can be like gaining something from family or having something come to you. If the coins stand out, it can be like money, like inheritance. If the walls or the plants stand out, it can often be like structured or genetic, or something coming to you can be like foundation. When it's reversed like this, it can mean not making that connection or unable to receive. So I feel like with these 2 cards together, the loss may be related to family. Let me know your thoughts on that, okay, Jeff? And then, interestingly, we have the 7 of Swords reversed has come up in this other deck as well. We saw this come up in the original Rider-Waite deck for my impression poll in a previous reading. When it's reversed like this, it's trying to tell you that don't feel like something's being taken from you, especially intellectually. I don't think that you may feel like there's like a part of you that's gone missing or that's been taken. Given that the way that this has come out and it's caused a disruption to your home, Jeff, I'm onto something for sure. So you know what this is relating to then. You would agree with that, Jeff? The amount of loss, the disruption to family or disconnect with family, and then you don't need to feel like something's being taken from you intellectually. When I look at this reading and I bring it back to where you are now, with this disruption in your household, I could see that this is the disruption being described that's causing this. This is not an easy path to take. There are challenges in this, for sure. I'm wondering how to extend on this further, Jeff. I'm just scanning through my cards. I'm thinking that I'm being drawn to my Witch's Wisdom Tarot deck. This deck digs deep for the messages that need to be heard. And so I think if I do a general reading on what you need to receive in terms of what's happening here, the cards that have come out, I feel like it's more of a description of what you're going through. And so I'm going to focus on what you need to hear based on this situation, okay? Just the messages that the tarot thinks you should know about this situation. What I like about this kind of reading is in doing that, the messages that you need to know, it can be affirming. If it gives us messages that you already knew or that you had a feeling about, then you're on the right track. If it gives you messages that are like way different than what you were thinking, then you may need to reanalyze or relook at some of the, some of the processes going on there. I'm going to do that 2 more times. I just have this feeling that it wants to be in the right order. There we go. That feels good. Okay. 2 cards come out reversed, 1 not. Once again, I feel like these are really speaking clearly through the same kinds of cards. I'm going to talk about this a little more, okay? 2 cards are upright, 1's reversed. I'm going to start at the reversed one. This is really about an inability to create a protection of some kind the card normally looks like this. And you can see here on this misty day, these three swans, or these three white geese, have taken refuge under a willow tree. It's about safety. It's about finding refuge, finding protection for yourself. When it's reversed like this, it can mean that you may feel like you're not able to do that. You're not able to find a refuge or be in a safe place right now. Then we have the Three of Air. Notice the Three of Water and the Three of Air side by side. Three of Water is reversed, Three Air is not. So there's a conflict in communication that's happening here as well. Now, the Three of Air is usually about escaping some sort of situation. You can see here that the three birds have taken off from this island due to the turbulent waters around it. And so I feel like you're in this situation. You can't find refuge or protection, and yet you're escaping the turbulence of the situation. Now, the Messenger of Air, I like to call this the Fae card. It's really about our connection with nature, our connection with our own internal instincts. And because it came up outright, I feel like for you, Jeff, this is a good message that you are following your instincts, that your instincts are assisting you well, that you can rely on this intuitive instinct that you've been using to get through the situation. I feel like it's going to guide you in the right direction. Okay, so just keep in mind that I think these feelings are very natural for what you're going through. Trusting yourself, you're escaping the situation, and you're having trouble now finding that security for yourself. But keep in mind, once you figure out what you need to do that, this card's going to flip around and you're going to find yourself in that, being able to be relieved from the situation, to back off from the danger. Until then, though, it looks like this. Does this make sense for you, Jeff, in terms of what the cards are trying to tell you? I really think that you have a strong place in this decision, or in this situation, and it's no wonder it's affecting you in the way that it has here in the original reading with these three cards. I hope that that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions, Jeff, or if there's anything that didn't connect out of this reading. It makes sense. Okay, thank you for that, Jeff. I appreciate it. I'm going to put the cards away. I think that what's really come out of this reading is just the journey that you've been on, and I really think that what these cards have expressed is that you're on the right track. You're just going through the emotions and the motions of the situation. I really feel confident that the Messenger of Air is really explaining the confidence that you may have in this, or that you can feel confident to follow your instincts. You're very welcome, Jeff. Thank you for letting me do your reading for you. I'm just going to cleanse and clear the decks, and then I will move to Monica. Monica, if you're there, thank you for your patience. Thank you for waiting. Just let me know that you're still on the call. Hi, Monica. Thank you so much. I see you there. Just going to finish decharging these cards, and then I'll move right into your reading. After Monica, I have Ashley, then Angie, and then Cynthia. So just to let people know the order of the list, moving forward. I will definitely do a general reading for you, Monica. Thank you for that. Okay, they feel good. So here we go. Monica, I'm now connecting with your energy and charging the cards with that intention. I'm looking for one card that's going to tell me how you're feeling energetically in the moment. So something that's in your energy today or right now. It's an impression pull, so it's really, I'm getting a sense from you and then asking the cards to describe the impression that I'm getting. And Monica, what I get for you is the Judgment card reversed. Monica, I think you're really hard on yourself. If it was this way, the judgment would be coming out from externally around you. When it's this way, it's often not from around, it's from within. And so I feel like you may be really hard on yourself in the moment. There could be something that you've gone through or something that you're dealing with that you're just maybe not happy with how you've dealt with it, or you're looking back at regrets of some kind. Don't be so hard on yourself. A lot of times when this card comes out, it can be someone blaming themselves when really it's not their fault. So let me know if that makes sense, Monica. I'm going to move on to the general reading with 3 cards. That also stands out for me. It just was like the message was very loud and clear from that card. So I'm interested to get your feedback on that, Monica. I'm just going to pull 3 cards from this deck. And we're just going to look at how the cards speak to each other to get your message. So, 2 higher arcana cards have come up. All 3 cards are reversed. Okay, thank you for that confirmation there, Monica. That could be what it's relating to, is, just being hard on yourself in terms of that. That's really great. That could also be why the card has come out reversed if you are working on this for yourself. That could be part of the process of being hard on yourself too. So try not to be hard on yourself. That can be an easier said than done thing to do. When I look at the cards that have come out for you, Monica, I see 2 cards that are really interesting. I'm wondering where to start. I'm going to start with this card and work my way to the higher arcana cards. This is the 6 of Cups. Sorry, 9 of Cups. This is the 9 of Cups. 9, as I mentioned previously in numerology, it's about reaching that end goal, finding the destination or the path. Quite often this card, it's about cups. Cups represent emotion, and quite often the 10 of emotion or 9 of emotions, finding that emotional goal, can mean like sorting through your emotions. You can see here from the card that this person here has their emotions in a row, everything in check. If something was going to happen for them, they would know exactly how it was going to affect them emotionally. They know exactly how they were going to feel. They would know how they were going to handle it. They're very grounded, very secure in their feelings. When it's reversed, it doesn't mean that you're not grounded in your feelings, but that you're in the process of sorting this out. That you're in the process of putting your cups in a row. They're just not in a row yet. You still have some sorting out to do. Once you finish sorting out those cups, though, Monica, it's good news because you're going to have all those cups in a row eventually. And when you do, you're going to be secure. You're going to be grounded. You're going to be very in tune with how you feel. And this card is telling me you're on your way there. Now, the Tower card reversed is the next card I want to talk about. Normally, the card looks like this, and it represents some sort of destruction, some sort of destructive change that's needed in order to move forward. When it's reversed, it means that you may have avoided some sort of destructive change. So there may have been a destructive change that was an opportunity for you, or something came to present itself and you took the steps that you needed in order to not go through that destruction. Sometimes this destructive change is not always a bad thing. It can mean a process that's needed in order to get somewhere that you need to be. I get the sense that this is more an avoidance of a change of some kind. So I do get a sense it was for the better. So the change may not have actually led to the appropriate place, and you've done what you've needed to do for that. Now, the Wheel of Fortune card reverse does not mean you're not lucky. It does not mean bad luck. When it's this way, it can mean fortune coming, but you're just going to have to take time to get there. Eventually, you'll get there. When it's reversed, it can mean that that time it's patience is needed, lots of patience. I think but this is something that you may have already been through, and that you're reaching that goal sooner than you think. So just keep that in mind. I think you've had the patience. I think you've been processing this already. And if it was this way, it would mean that you would have that wait period still. When it's this way, it means you're sort of already in that wait period and it's closer than you think. So keep that in mind. Don't get discouraged, Monica. A lot of times when the card comes out reversed like this, it can be somebody who doesn't see the end coming, like they've been waiting for so long, it feels like it's never going to arrive. But it is. It is going to arrive. So just be patient and time will tell. I really like what you just said there on how you've had lots of tower moments and the towers don't affect you anymore. It sounds like you've just been able to become really strong and independent in the experiences that you've been through, for sure. So it sounds to me like you're able to just manage those changes accordingly, which is why this card has come out reversed. If it didn't come out reversed, you'd be faced with those changes. You'd be going through the destruction of whatever it was that was needed to be destroyed. I like the way this cards have come out, even though it's a challenging path. I see it as being a way of dealing with the path that you're on. And I think that that speaks to confidence. I think it speaks to security. I think it speaks to making the right decisions for yourself. If you find you're up against these towers and you can just take them on and you don't have to go through the destruction of the change, I think that speaks very highly to your ability in this situation. And I think you just want to be careful not being hard on yourself. I think that even though that is in your past and that is behind you, there could be some of that underlining because it did come up here. So just keep that in mind, Monica, that as long as you're not being too hard on yourself, you'll be able to think clearly and moving forward in the right direction. Now, I'm just wondering how to move forward. I think I would like to do one card pull from my Sacred Destiny deck, given how this reading has gone. Given what you've been through and the amount of change that has already occurred, obviously, given your comments and how you don't judge yourself anymore and you're working through this independent process, I'd like to look at the portion of life path that you're walking in terms of this reading. I think that that may be helpful because quite often, sometimes when we understand the portion of life path that our reading involves or that our situation involves, it can make sense why it's happening. And so that's what I'm hoping for you, Monica. And so I'm just going to pull one card from this deck. Now, I'm noticing something right away. When I connect with your energy, Monica, the cards don't want to go together. They're very rigid. They're kind of hitting each other, and they're just not flowy, shuffling at all. And I don't feel like that's on me. I feel like that's on the energy that I'm picking up. So you could be sort of against yourself in some way, or your worst enemy in terms of what you need for yourself. And the card that I get for you, Monica, is the community card. Now I'm going to hold this card up for you. Let me know what stands out for you in the imagery. A lot of times when I use this deck, people give me comments like, "Oh, I dreamt that," or I connect with that image for whatever reason and they have their own reason for connecting with it. So I just want to leave it up for you for a moment to make sure that there's nothing that resonates or stands out for you before I talk about the meaning of this card. So quite often the meaning of this card can represent finding your place or where you fit into some sort of community, finding your role in your world. What I get a sense from the card is really about finding your place in the world. Where do you fit in terms of what is right for you? What's standing out for me most is the spectrum of light, the rainbow glare that's coming through the trees. And I think that that just speaks highly to the flowiness and the type of community that we're talking about, the type of connection that you maybe long to have. What this could mean is that in a previous life, you may have had trouble making those connections. You didn't feel like you fit or belonged somewhere. And so in this life, it's really important that you fit in. It's important that you belong, that you feel like you belong in some way. I'm not sure this is a challenge for you. Given how your reading has come out, I think that you are in the midst of reaching this life path for yourself. You're in the process of sorting out the way this is affecting you. You're avoiding those destructive changes, and it's just going to take some time for you to reach the goal or the reward to come to you. I think you're more at the end of this path than you are. It may feel like you're at the beginning. I'm just reading the messages that have popped up here. Fascinating. Thank you for explaining that, Monica. It really did just detail sort of what I was talking about. So I'm glad to see that I am on the right track. It put it into your own words. It makes more sense. So I appreciate that. Thank you for that. I do hope that you find your place in the world and where you feel you belong. You must be here for a reason. And so finding that reason can be very grounding and very securing for ourselves. Thank you for letting me do your reading, Monica. I'm going to decharge and put away the cards for now. I do hope that that was helpful. Let me know if you have any thoughts on that. And I will move on to Ashley. Ashley, if you're there, I'm just going to clear the cards. And then after Ashley, I have Angie. And then after Angie, I have Cynthia. Hi, Ashley. Thanks for the wait. Each reading is about 15 minutes long, and so I've been doing readings for about an hour so far, and so I just want to thank everyone who's been waiting very patiently for your turn in the reading. So Cynthia, I just want to warn you that you still have about a half an hour probably to wait before your reading comes up because you're last on the list. And I have 2 more people ahead of you. Interesting, Monica. Thank you for that last comment there. I think you just need to want to be careful, trying not to be too hard on yourself. If you feel like you want to be hard on you, there could be a reason for that. And so just make sure that you're not being too hard on yourself. Give yourself some slack. Okay, Ashley, I'm going to start with 1 card impression pull from this deck, and that's going to tell me where you're sitting energetically in the moment, and then I'll move to this deck, and that's when you have an opportunity where I can focus on a topic or question or leave it general. So if you have a certain topic or question you want me to focus on for this reading, just let me know, and I will focus on that when I get to that deck. Thank you for your patience, Cynthia. I appreciate your message there. I feel like this deck is speaking to me here in a specific way. For you, Ashley, I get the Page of Pentacles. It did not come out reversed. Quite often, pentacles represent money or health. What's standing out for me is the coin itself, right from the beginning, the coin and the shirt on his back. This tells me it's about prosperity. It's about finding your place in the world in terms of money. Pages are often the beginning of a path. So this is about you getting into a new direction in terms of finances. Does that make sense for you, Ashley? And a general reading? Absolutely. I just see your message there. I'll focus on a general reading. I'll just pull 3 cards and we'll look at how those 3 cards are related to each other to get that message that you need to hear. Okay, thank you for that confirmation that this makes sense. I appreciate that. Now, 2 cards have come out reversed, 1 has not. I'm going to start at the reversed cards and work my way this way. That's just how I'm being drawn in this reading. The first card I'm going to talk about is a higher arcana card. It is the Justice card reversed. Steal some water here for a moment. So this is the Justice card reversed. I'm getting a sense, and what's standing out for me are the scales. The scales on the card itself. You can see that the main character is holding a sword and holding scales. The scales are standing out for me. And so I feel like this is really about fairness, more so than justice. It's about being fair, weighing out what's been done, or how this has come about, or how this has happened. And it's reversed. So I get the sense that you're no longer weighing this. So this may be a good opportunity for you. This, whatever direction you've moved in terms of finances, Ashley, I think that this is a good thing for you. It's relieved some sort of pressure on you to weigh things out, find the balance. You're no longer taking action that's really important to you. I think you've taken the action and you can now put it behind you. I don't know if this action is what got you in the direction in the first place. Now, the next card I want to focus on is the Page of Cups. This card often comes up for someone who needs to lighten up a little, who needs to calm down, who needs to look at things more with a sense of humor and not so serious. I think this just speaks to maybe the area that you're now able to move into, given that you're past this stressful time. Does this make sense for you, Ashley? Oh, it makes a lot of sense. I see your message there. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. Let me know if there's anything that I've said that doesn't quite connect. I'm wondering how to expand on this further. Given that this is a direction in a new direction in terms of finances, I'm wondering if it would be helpful to look at the heart chakra deck in terms of what you need for yourself. Oh, thank you for that confirmation that this makes sense. I appreciate that, Ashley. I'm going to pull 3 cards from this deck, asking this deck for advice for you moving forward on what you need for yourself. It seems to me like you've already maybe made a decision for yourself, or that you've done something that's directed you in another direction, or in a different, onto a new path. And so I'm just going to use this deck to confirm that. Now, 2 higher arcana cards have come out. The 2 higher arcana cards are not only bookending the reading, they're reversed. And the suit is upright. I'm going to start at the suit. It's just standing out for me more. It's the 4 of emotion. Quite often when we find grounding and emotion, it leads to joy and stability. And that's what it's suggesting. What you need for yourself is joy and stability. You need to enjoy the process. You've been through a hard time, and now it's easier, it's lighter, and so you need to enjoy that while it lasts, okay? Not that it's not gonna last, I don't mean it like that, but enjoy it now that it's here. There's no need to rebuild. This is an important message from a higher arcana card, and there's another message here, and I feel like they're speaking together in terms of not going with the flow and no need to rebuild yourself. I think what this is really saying is that you can feel confident in your own energy. I think you can feel confident in the actions that you've taken and the things that you've done. You're not going with the flow, you're doing this your own way. You don't need to rebuild yourself. There's nothing wrong with you, and the way that you are is just fine. Finding the joy and stability in what you're going through is really the important message that needs to be heard out of this. That is the advice moving forward. Enjoy the ride. Thank you for confirming that this makes sense for sure. I think this just speaks to the place that you're in, really. When I look back at this reading, right back to where you are now in the moment, you're stepping onto this new path in terms of finances, and I think the path is looking pretty doable. I want to also point out that 3 higher arcanas are reversed on the table. And so there could be some sort of communication that you're not receiving from yourself. There could be some sort of message in this that you may not be cluing in on yet, but that message will hit home at some point. Do you have any questions about this, Ashley? Let me know. I'm just going to start cleansing and putting away the cards, and then I'll move on to Angie. Angie, if you're also on the call, let me know. I feel like this reading just went like boom, 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 and I think the messages were just so clear and direct and quick in receiving them. I don't think that there's a lot of negativity in this. So I really like the way this reading has gone. Thank you, Ashley, for confirming that you resonate very much. I appreciate that. Thank you for letting me do your reading for you. So I'm just going to decharge the cards. Thank you, Angie, for confirming that you're still here. I appreciate that. I'll just start your reading in just a moment. Make sure that we get rid of all the energy before we start charging your energy into the decks. We want clear cards to work with. I have talked about that in a previous Tarot Talk topic as well, clearing the decks and energetically charging the decks. So feel free to go back and look at that episode if you're interested. There are so many topics that I've covered so far. I've been doing these Tarot Talk lives monthly for about 1.5 years, actually going on 2 years now. And so there's at least 20 something different topics so far that have been discussed, and more to come. I'm really looking forward to, if I could just take a moment to talk about, in December, I'm going to be doing a full year reflection, full year forecast. In January, in the new year, I'm going to be showing how to do cartomancy with playing cards, with just regular card deck, not tarot related deck. And so I'm interested, I'm looking forward to that too, to see who's all interested in that. And if you're interested to learn how to do that yourself, you could always check out my website, look at the information about the workshop on how to do tarot for yourself. Okay, Angie, I am ready for your reading. Oh, thank you, Angie. I appreciate that you're enjoying being on the broadcast. So, Angie, I'm just going to start your 1-card impression poll, and then if you have a question or topic you want me to focus on, let me know. Otherwise, it can be left general. I feel like these cards want to be shuffled well. There's a bit of a hesitance to shuffle the cards out. Try and connect with your energy. Angie, I get the sense that you're a bit protective or closed and you don't like your energy being read. Let me know if that confirms for you, okay? I am getting that sense, but I am able to read your energy. Interestingly enough, what came out is the Ten of Pentacles again. This card has been coming up a lot of family connections to talk about tonight, and this is about a disconnect with family of some kind. And so I feel like there's something that you may not be getting from family. What's standing out for me though is the cloak on the back of the main character, some of the plants, the animals that are involved. I get a sense this is more about health than money, and that something may have been avoided in terms of health. Perhaps it was you were wondering about a genetic condition or issue that may have been passed down and it didn't get passed down after all, or there's something in relation to health and not receiving from family. I don't know. I don't get a sense that that's in terms of support. I get a sense that it's in terms of like if someone had a medical condition and you avoided it in some way. Does that make sense for you, Angie? I'm going to focus on that general reading. I'm going to pull 3 cards from this deck and we'll just look at how those cards speak to themselves, and then we can relate that back to where you're sitting now. Let me know if you have any insight about that. Really? If you're not sure what this is connected to, it may have been avoided altogether. If there was something that was concerning or underlying in your family that hasn't been, like it didn't produce, that may be why this was avoided in the first place. Because it's reversed and not receiving some sort of genetic, or it's definitely health related. I don't get money from this. So you may have avoided something here in terms of health, Angie, and I think that that's good news. I think that that's actually a good thing. So maybe think back on what that could relate to. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. That may make sense, you said. Okay. Think about that a little bit more and see how you resonate with that, or if there's any missing information that you're unaware of. Perhaps you had a relative that has been diagnosed with something that could be inherited, and that would create some concern. This would say that it didn't pass down. Hi Nicole, thank you for your question. Unfortunately, I've capped my readings tonight, and I just have Angie and Cynthia, and then I'm done doing my free readings for tonight. However, I can add you to the free draw that will be happening on December 11th. And so if you're a winner, I will offer you a free short reading over Zoom, which is more interactive one-on-one interaction, where you get to ask questions one-on-one. I'm just writing your name down, and I will add you to that draw. There we go. Okay. So thank you for your interest. Now, Angie, 3 cards have come out. 2 are reversed, 1's not. I'm going to start here and work my way this way. The first card that comes up is the 5 of Cups. I've talked about this in a previous reading tonight about that emotional indecision. And quite often there's loss involved with this card, with indecision or challenges faced, and they're emotional. Quite often when we reach indecision of emotion, we feel loss for what we've lost. You can see that in the card description or the depiction of the card, where this person has their cups behind them that they've secured, and then they're pondering what's been spilt. the cups that have been lost and the emotional connections with what's been lost. I feel like what this is saying is that there may be a process here in terms of that. The next card I want to talk about is the Page of Swords. It came out reversed like this, and so it's about not getting onto a new path in terms of a thought or heavy intellect. I feel like what this is really saying is that there could have been an indecision to move forward and you decided not to. And I see that here with the Page of Swords reversed being beside the King of Swords reversed. The King of Swords is often about having to make a heavy decision that's heavy on your mind. When it's reversed, you either had trouble making that decision or you avoided making that decision. So there was some sort of heavy thought that caused for this decision making and it just didn't materialize or it didn't follow through. You didn't make that decision and weren't able to take on the action or get into the direction. And then that led to or is related to this loss. Does that make sense, Angie? I just read your message there that your family is pretty closed. And so that may be one reason why you may be unaware of something that could be in the family. When I look at the general reading and I bring it back to where you are now, I'm not sure. I think if you're like unable to make decisions and unable to move forward in a direction, there's loss involved. And you talked about relating this to your family and maybe not being connecting. That could be related to that. Now, you mentioned in your message that you just finished a major transition and you may be confused in what direction to go. I think once you resolve that for yourself, you get the missing information that you need, you'll be able to then flip this card around, make the decision. If this card flips around, guaranteed this card's going to flip around and you're going to start going in the direction that you need to. In the meantime, it looks like this with the indecision that's happening. I think the loss is connected to the indecision. If these cards flip around, that loss card is also going to be flipped around and you're going to be able to move forward and move that behind you. The loss is going to be behind you as you move forward. I'm wondering how to move forward in the reading. I'd like to extend on this further. It seems to me like this is a description of what you're going through now or the process of what you're going through. And so I'm just wondering how we can extend on this further. It talks a lot about indecision, not being able to move forward or make a choice of move forward, and then feeling the loss of that. I'm wondering if it would be helpful again to look at my heart chakra deck. This deck works I work with this deck in a way that it gives great advice in terms of what you need for yourself, and I think that that might be helpful given all of this happening and the loss that's involved here. So I'm just focusing on that for your advice moving forward, focusing on the reading right from the beginning. Now, the three cards that have come out are interesting. One's reversed and two are not. The card that came out that I'm going to focus on that's reversed is the Three of Needs. Quite often, this can be about what we need for ourselves and communicating that. And when it's reversed, it can mean that you're unable to do that, that you're prevented from communicating that need in terms of what you need for yourself. Now, the card is often depicted as share the love card. When it's reversed, it means that you're not receiving it, or that they're not sharing, or that you're unable to share the love in some way. And that may be connected to like the family disconnect that you were referring to. This is a process of moving on. And that's what this card represents. 8 in numerology is finding success. And when we find success in what we need for ourselves, quite often we have to let go of things in order to move forward. So this is about moving on from. And then the next card is the 6 of action. This is giving and receiving. It's sort of that give and take, understanding that goes both ways. That in order to receive, you have to take. In order to take, you have to receive. Or in order to give, you have to receive. In order to receive, you have to give. And it goes back and forth. It's not usually a one-sided direction. And so that's what this is really saying, is that you're in the process of seeing the equity in that. What is equal give and take in terms of what you're going through. I think that this speaks well in terms of where you're headed, because even though you're having to move on and you're prevented from sharing this experience, I think you have to look at it in terms of what you receive from the situation, what you take from the situation. And 6 in numerology is often about how we interact with others. And this is the action card. And so I feel like there could be others that you could reach out to for assistance, Angie, or that there could be others that could help you with this, that they have something to offer, that you have something to give, and vice versa. So just keep that in mind. If you feel like there are not people in your world who are helping you or who are supportive, there may actually be some around you that could fulfill that role. It just may not be who you expect, or that you didn't see coming, perhaps. But that I think that support is there. Oh, thank you, Angie. I appreciate knowing that this is helpful. Let me know your thoughts on that if anything didn't connect. I'm just going to start to decharge and put away the cards, and then I will move on to Cynthia's reading. Cynthia, if you're still on the call, really appreciate your patience. I know you've been here from the beginning, I think. And you are the last reading tonight. You're very welcome, Angie. Thank you for letting me do your reading for you. You're still here. You made it. Thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate that. So, do you have a topic or question you'd like me to focus on, or just leave it general? Just let me know, and I will start your reading as soon as I'm done decharging the decks. Career or money? Pick one. Do you want to do it on career? Or do you want to do it on money? Or we could do it on both, since they're related, but I'm leaving that up to you, because that could be 2 different categories in your mind. I'll start with your 1-card impression pull. Surprise me. Okay, well, let's see what the cards surprise us with then. I'm going to leave it up to the deck. So I'm going to start with a 1-card impression pull from this deck, and that's just going to tell me where you're sitting energetically in the moment. And then I'm going to move to the Morgan Greer deck, where we'll do your reading. I'll pull 3 cards, and we'll read how those 3 cards speak to each other to get your message. Now, Cynthia, I got for you the 10 of Swords. It did not come, or the King of Swords, sorry. It did not come out reversed. And so, as you can see here, the king is sitting in his throne. The swords are about heavy thoughts and intellect. And so this is about someone who's sitting in the king's throne to make those decisions. You're going through the process of these heavy thoughts and intellect to make the decisions that you need for yourself. Quite often with these kinds of decisions involving the king, there are sacrifices involved. So just keep that in mind, Cynthia, that these decisions are great, but there could be sacrifices or a catch. Now I'm just focusing on your topic, career or money. or both. Okay. Cynthia, I get a sense that this is more about career than money. Money is involved, but it's about decisions about money, not necessarily receiving or making money. There's the Chariot card, which often represents the tasks that need to be completed, the achieving the goal. There's a lot involved in this goal. Again, it seems to be more career oriented than not. And then you have the Strength card, and I'll work my way to that. I'm going to go in the direction in the order of the cards that I just explained. You have the Queen of Pentacles. This is the queen sitting in the throne making important financial decisions. And those financial decisions are going to affect the people around them. So just keep that in mind, okay? That there are financial decisions that need to be made moving forward. Now, the Chariot card reversed. You may feel like you're not able to get up and go. If this was the Chariot card not reversed, it would be like, exactly like, whipping those mares and getting the chariot moving, and you're in the race and you have a goal to win the race and achieve the final, to win the race. When it's reversed, it means that there are challenges in the way. If you look at it in terms of the chariot has to drive the horses, steer the mares. He has to fix any broken wheels. He has to repair the axles that get damaged. There's a lot involved to get to the outcome, to get to the goal. And you are in those challenges. You are sorting out for yourself what needs to be done. When you sort this stuff out, as soon as you complete those changes, this card will flip around and you'll be off to the races, Cynthia. But until then, it looks like this. There's something that needs to be done for you to move forward. Now, you have the Strength card on the table. Even though it came out reversed, it's still a good message. The Strength card does not appear on the table in my reading, Cynthia, for someone who does not have that internal strength. I'm not talking physical strength. This character does not have the lion in a physical headlock. They are using their internal strength to soothe and calm the lion, to tame the beast. That's the kind of strength that I'm talking about, that internal strength that you need in order to accomplish your goals. When it's reversed, it doesn't mean that that strength isn't there. It just means you may not fully realize it's there. You may not fully appreciate or acknowledge the strength that you have in you. I want to remind you, Cynthia, that anytime this card shows up on the table, it means that that person has that inner strength. So you just need to believe in yourself. I think that's what that's really saying. If you believe in yourself, you make these financial decisions, and you figure out what's stopping you from moving forward, that is what I think is going to be, that's going to be the catch. I think that the king is talking about these consequences that are involved. Does this make sense for you, Cynthia? Wondering how to expand on this further. I think given that it's about career more so than money, I'm going to look at this from the Zen deck perspective, that interactions with the energies around you. Okay, thank you for that confirmation, Cynthia, that this makes sense. I'm going to look at advice moving forward in terms of the energies around you. How do you interact with those energies around you to move forward in this situation, in your career? And so I'm just going to ask this deck to give us 3 cards to give us that advice based on how the cards speak to each other. Okay, I'm going to start here and work my way across. There is a higher arcana card that I'm going to work my way to. I feel like that's the important message. I also feel like that these cards are reiterating very similar messages. And so I find that very fascinating, and I'll talk about that. The first card that I want to talk about is postponement. This is usually the Four of Air or the Four of Intellect. Heavy thoughts. Four, when we have in numerology, it's about grounding. And so when we mix grounding with heavy thoughts, it can really be about what you need for yourself. What are you thinking in terms of creating that grounding? It seems like you're held back in some way from these thoughts, Cynthia. It's about seeing the picture beyond the frame. You can see here, it's about, within the box, the picture that the person is seeing is color, but outside of the box, it's black and white. It's about being held back in some way. Something is postponed in your thought process. The advice for that is to see outside of the box, to look at things from a different point of view, perhaps, or to expand your thinking. There's exhaustion involved. This is the 9 of action, and it often represents being overwhelmed or exhausted in the actions that you've taken. This card often comes up for somebody who's done it over and over and over and trying to make it work, and it's just like, it's exhausting. Just know that 9 in numerology is about reaching the goal, and the color around the 9 tells me that it's about actions. When we reach the goal, when we take the actions to reach the goal, it's often a good thing. It's just the process that has to be taken to get there. So don't fret. Try to have patience. I think even though you may feel exhausted, you're getting somewhere. And this is the more important card that I want to talk to you about. It's looking beyond the illusion. This is a higher arcana card, so it is the more important card message out of this tarot deck structure. And it's really about seeing beyond the illusion. You can see here that there's a person, and there's like a butterfly in front of the person's face, and you have to sort of look beyond that to see that there's a person there. It's about seeing beyond the illusion. Don't fall for the illusion that's in front of you. There could be some misleading aspect of this of some kind, and you want to make sure that you're not being misled by whatever that illusion is. Sometimes we create our own illusions that we have to follow in terms of like, if you think it's going to go a certain way and you're really persistent on that, and that's not the way that it's actually headed, just keep in mind that you want to be able to see beyond that illusion. You want to see reality for what it is. That's going to help you move forward in this. I think that may also help you tackle some of that exhaustion. I feel like those two cards are related, being side by side, and that they're kind of speaking to each other. So just keep that in mind, Cynthia. When I look at this reading and I bring it back to where you are now, I feel like you're in the process of making these decisions that kickstart this whole journey. It does feel like it leads somewhere. So don't give up. Keep looking beyond that illusion, and you'll be able to eventually see outside of the box in terms of that postponement. I'd like to just pull one more card from this reading. Especially with 3 higher arcana cards, 2 are reversed, 1's not. And so I feel like there's messages being received here, but you're not getting the full message. It's like partially. I'm going to do a 1 card pull from my Sacred Destiny deck. I think it may be helpful to understand the portion of life path that you're walking, to understand why this is so challenging. And I say that in terms of the Chariot card being reversed. So I'm just going to pull 1 card from this deck. 1 more cut here. There we go. And Cynthia, you get the Blessings card. quite often this card comes up for somebody who's, realizing the blessings that are around them. The card itself is depicted as a bird sitting amongst the flowers in a floral environment, and they are free. Um, it's really about that bird can feel pretty happy with their surroundings. They can see and feel blessed. And it's really about finding a way of doing that for yourself. It may mean that if you had to deal with this in a past life, you may not have achieved that feeling of being blessed, of finding the blessings in your life. You may have gone through a really hard time in the past, in a past life. And so in this life, you have this urge to find the fulfillment, to reach your potential, to receive the blessings. That's really what this card is about. And so I could understand if this is about accomplishment in your career, then I can see how that could be connected to your life path in terms of the blessings, finding the fulfillment out of what you're trying to do for yourself. I like your comment there, Cynthia. I won't repeat it, given the profanity, but and on my live. But definitely, I think there's going to be this opening for you. I can see that through the blessings card. Quite often, this card doesn't come out for somebody who isn't receiving those blessings or isn't going to come to terms with what is in their life that they can be blessed for. Now, keep in mind, often with the Sacred Destiny card, um, if you've experienced this in a previous life, you're going to have that urge now. If you don't fulfill this in this life, it's going to repeat into the next. So this is something that you really want to focus on achieving. This is something that's going to be very important to you in your life path. That this has to do with the goal that you're trying to achieve, the reason you're here. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if anything here didn't connect, Cynthia. I do hope that this reading was helpful. Thank you so much to everyone who came and viewed my Tarot Talk Live broadcast tonight. I really appreciate everyone who's come. Even if you weren't requesting readings and you were just listening along, I really appreciate all the viewers and everyone who's come. Thank you, Cynthia, for confirming that this all makes sense. I really appreciate that. I'm going to just put away the cards and decharge them for now. Thank you to everyone who received readings from me on this live broadcast. I really appreciate you, and I really enjoy these live broadcasts. I like meeting new people. I like seeing familiar faces that come. I really enjoy helping out. This is how I started in my profession. I was just doing tarot readings for people in trying to help out, and it just expanded and built and grew. And so now that's why I offer the draw, so that anyone can request a free reading from me and you're automatically included in that draw. For the people that I've added to that list, that draw happens on Monday, December 11th, 2023. I usually get back to people. You have until 10 a.m. that morning when the draw closes, and I add everyone to the list and actually perform the draw, pick the winners. There is a 1 in 5 chance to win, so feel free to participate, and good luck. If you don't get chosen or you don't receive a response, only winners of the draw receive a response from me to let you know that you've won and to arrange that booking session with you. And so just be patient. If you don't hear from me, better luck next time. Feel free to check my website for when the next draw happens. And I look forward to the next Tarot Talk live event, which is going to happen Tuesday, December 19th. I'm going to be talking about using tarot cards to do a full year reflection. So looking back at a full year using tarot cards, and then also doing that same technique to do a year forecast. So looking ahead at what the year is to bring. I think that that's important to do at this time of year. I know that I personally go through a lot of reflection at this time of year as we get into the darker times, the darker days, and the longer nights. I do a lot of shadow work, a lot of self-reflection at this time of year, and so I think that that would be helpful for anyone who may be following that similar path during this time. So thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone who I've seen here tonight. Please feel free to check out my website. Lots available there for you to do, and if you want to reach out to me, you can contact me right from my website. I also have an email address, bryantarotreading@gmail.com. Or if you're interested, if you're watching this from my website and you're interested to get involved in Facebook, please visit www.facebook.com/bryantarotreading, and you will be introduced to the Stafford Tarot Facebook page where these live events take place. So thank you so much, everyone, and I really look forward to the next time, which will be in December. Happy holidays. Take good care.